Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about subscripts and indices of data frames. So the key thing about working effectively with data frame is to be completely at ease with using subscripts. Some people call it indices. So in our subscript appears to be in a square bracket. So a data frame is, which we already know, is a two-dimensional object which comprises the rows and then the columns. The rows are referred to by the first left-hand subscript, and then the column by the second by the second right-hand subscript. So assuming that in the previous video we were talking about the WORMS dataset. So I am going to I'm going to read the WORMS dataset, then I'm going to view it, then I will attach it. So this one, I want to run it, to read it, then we can view it. So when we view it, this is the WORM data set. Everything is already here. So this is basically the data we are going to work with. So now, one thing I told you is that the best thing you have to do is to attach it, so that if you want to call any variable in the data, it becomes very easy. It is going to bring it. So we press Command plus Enter to attach it. So now, let's look at how we are going to actually work on the data. So here, if you want to know the names, of the of these variables, I told you in the previous video that you just have to type names. Then you say WORMS. So WORMS is the data set. Sorry. Then you run it, and it's going to give you the names of the names of each column. So we have, how many columns do we have? How many names do we have, or which represent the columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now let's look at how we are going to do it. I told you that the indices, it uses a square bracket. So for example, if we want to extract the fourth column, like the fourth row of the fifth column, like for example, let's say if you want to extract the fourth row in the fifth column, what we have to do is we call for the data, the WORMS data, then we use the square brackets. So we are calling for the fourth row. So this one represents the row, and then the column is going to be the fifth one, of which we know the fifth one. I told you that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fifth one is the soil. So we are going to locate the fourth row, the item over here in the fifth column, which is located into the soil pH. We know soil pH is they are numbers, they are integers. So we are going to look at that number. So that number, we press 5 because it is in the fifth column. So we look at it, and it tells you that it is 4.9 over here. So now another thing is that if you want to, another thing you have to do is that we want to extract the value of the 15th to 18th row of the sixth column. So I told you that this side, which is this one, this side represents the row, and then this side represents the column. So we are trying to extract the value of the 15th to 18th row of the sixth column. So this is the column, and then this is the row. So this is how we do it. So we say WORMS, you call the data, and then you use your square bracket. Then you say the 15th row 2. We know this 2. We use this to the 18th row. Then we use this one to break it, the comma to break it. And then on which column? Sixth column. So on the sixth column. So we look at it over here. So the 18th row. So the 18th is saying, so you can even go and look at it over here. This is the 18th row. Look at it like over here. Okay, it didn't show numbers over here. It could have showed the numbers over here, but you don't have to worry about it. We can still count. We can count the numbers. I want, okay, I have arranged it well. So 18th, I've arranged it well. Okay, so the 15th to the 18th row, look at it. Look at it. So 15th here is true, false. Look at it, right? Very, very nice. So that is how it looks like. So another thing we can also do is to extract the first to sixth row of the first to fourth column. So this is also very, very simple. We are just extracting it. So the worm here, we just call that worms. Okay. So we are just extracting the first to sixth row. So you use the square bracket. So the first up to the sixth row. Then you bring the comma. So you go to the column side. Which numbers are we going to use? There, we said the first to fourth column. So it means that the first column here, first 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So we are going to extract that number. So say first 2, 4. So we do that and then we run it over here. So this one is the first, second, third, fourth, and we have just extracted the first to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very, very nice. So another thing you can also do is to extract all the columns in the fourth row. So look at it over here. So we say worms. So worms, then you bring your this thing, and then we are selected up in the fourth row. So the fourth row here, the fourth row. So we are selecting all the columns. So the columns, you don't have to bring any sign over there. So that is all. And you do it. Look at it. So this is the fourth row. Let's go back into our data. This is our data. We go to our fourth row. Look at it over here, the fourth row. And all the columns. You can see everything over here. Very, very nice. Another issue is if you want to select all, you want to also select all the rows in the fourth column. So this is the fourth column. The fourth column, I showed you over here. This is the fourth column, the vegetation. So we want to select all the rows. This is very, very simple. So all the rows, you call for the data worms. Then you leave the rows empty. And then you select this. So this one is we are going to the fourth column, and you're going to select all the rows. So we know that all these things are character variables. Let's look at how it is going to give us. It gives you almost everything. Very, very nice. So that is that. Now, if you want to look at the class of all the columns of the fourth row, this one that we show here. If you want to look at the class, let me show you the code, what you have to use to do that. So we say class. We want to show the class of you want to show the class of all the columns of the fourth row. So this is the fourth row here. You want to look at the class. What do you think is going to give it? It's going to give you. Let's see. It's going to give you something called a data frame. Let's look at how it looks like. So you call for the worms, the worm data, and then you do like this, and then you call for all the columns in the fourth row. So you're going to the fourth row and all the columns. Let's select it and see. It tells you that it is a data frame because this one is we need only the fourth column. So all of this. So it tells you it is a data frame. Let's look at the opposite side. The opposite side, we look at all the class. We look at the class of the worms, and then we want to see all the rows in the fourth column. What is it going to give you? All the rows. So you say comma, and then all the rows in the fourth column. Look at it, all the rows. So this one, you see that they are just names, and it tells you that in names, what does it tell you? It tells you that they are character variables. So let's run it and see. It tells you over here that they are character variables. Very, 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 very nice. So another thing we can do is to one thing we can also do is to also extract like for example, we have this data frame, and then we need only this first column and then the seventh column. Only this. We just need only this. So regarding how do you call it? We have different ways of doing that. You can just select this number and then this. You can use piping to do that. But as another simple way we can do that is just call for the data. It's very, very simple. So we are going to extract only the first and then the first and the second column, and we use a function called concatenation function to concatenate. So we just call for the data. So once you call for the data, now, sorry, you put it in a bracket. You put it in a square bracket, and then now we are looking for the columns, not the rows. So the columns is going to give you empty. So we are going to use the concatenation function to select the first and the seventh row. The first and the second column, and the row is empty. Got it. So it tells you only the first. It shows you only the first and then the seventh row. Look at it over here. The first and the seventh row. Now let's look at if we want to select we want only the first. So the opposite side is going to be the opposite of this one is going to be this worms, and then it tells you this, sorry, square brackets, and then it tells you to bring this one here, the first and the seventh, only the first and seventh row of which column of the data. So you just use comma, and that's it. This is the opposite of this. Let's look at let's look at what it's going to give you. It is going to give you only the first and the second row using the concatenation function. Look at it. Oh no, it tells you that there is something wrong with that. What did I do? I did something wrong. It is the comma here. There's not supposed to be a comma here. So let's run it again and see. You run it and it shows you only the first and the seventh row. Look at it, first and then the seventh right here. Very, very, very nice. So another thing you can also do is to, let's say we want to extract the first and okay, so this is the first and second, sorry, the first and the seventh row. So let's say we want to select, after we have selected this one, we need only the first and the fifth row. It looks like something confusing. It's not confusing. So we need the first and second of the row, the first, second row. So sorry, the first and then the seventh row, and then we need the first and the fifth. So the fifth is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this fifth one, the first and then fifth row. So we need this and this. It's very, very simple. Let's look at the code that we will do to do that. So we call for the data once, and then after you call for the data, we use our square brackets. Then we go to the row. So the row, we need the first and seventh row. So we use the concatenation function to call for the first and then the seventh row. This is what we have done. Now let's go to the column side. The column side, we need the first and the fifth column. So we use the same concatenation function and call for the first and the fifth. So it's going to give us only these two. It's going to give us only these two, and then the fifth, 4 and 1, 4.1, 4.2. Let's run it and see. Look at it. Very, very, very nice. You can see it over here. Nash field, and then this. So this is another way you can use, for example, if you want to extract the first 7 rows, so we can use this function. Last but not the least, we can use if you want to extract the first 7 rows, so we can just call the worms, then use the square bracket sign, and then we want the first 7 rows. So this one, the concatenation function, we use 1, then we use semicolon 7. So it is going to select the 1 to 7th row of the entire column. So this, then you leave this one empty. Look at it over here. Very, very nice. So when we talk about subscript and indices of data frames, this is what we are talking about. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.